Hello, number ones, and welcome to Metatron's Academy. So, what are the benefits of learning languages? Well, today we're going to learn that from the website called ACTF Language Connects. So, without further ado, let's see if it's good, based, or nonsense. Knowing more than one language is fast becoming a requirement for anyone who wants to compete and thrive in a world where boundaries and barriers are becoming less relevant. This sentence worked really well in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. 2026, I don't know, man. Like, learning languages is great now, but the way the world is fast becoming with the intervention of AI and all that kind of stuff, I don't know what the 2030s, the 2040s and 50s are gonna, if it's gonna be a requirement anymore, or if anyone is just gonna use AI. I hope not. I hate it, but I'm just saying. It sounds like this is something I've heard, but I'm not sure if it's as relevant. In addition to the language itself, multilingual learners can take advantage of the full scope of accompanying cognitive and social skills. True. Making them great employees, leaders in their communities, and true global citizens. Oh, and I never liked the expression leader in their community. It kind of makes me sound like I'm not going to go pedantic on it, doesn't matter. The US lags behind in language education. Most students in the US graduate high school knowing only one language. Okay, yeah, this is one major difference that I do notice with the likes of Europe, for instance. Now, given not every European country is the same, I think in general, probably like bilingualism in the sense of not necessarily that you are fully bilingual, but in the sense that, people actually learn a second language really well. I think it's more common in the Nordic countries than it is in Southern Europe, but we do study it. We do study it, and now the younger generations now are actually much better at like speaking English, for instance, and it's fantastic. Making it the only developed country in the world for which language learning is not a recognized priority. In the United States, only 1 in 5 K-12 students and about 1 in 12 university students is enrolled in a world language class. 1 in 12 for university? Wow. This is a hopefully small number of students, especially when compared to other countries. 92% of students in Europe learn another language in school. That's true. That's true. It's the majority of people. I mean, the study now given. Not every single one reaches fluency, and there is a lot that needs to be done when it comes to the quality of said learning methods and the teachers and whatnot. But as I say, things have changed since back in the day when like we were studying it, where it's not like we could really have a conversation. Kids today are pretty good, even in Italy. Nearly 1 in 4 Canadians can hold a conversation in both English and French. True, but then again, Canada is kind of special in certain areas where like people actually do speak French fully. Across Africa, more schools are teaching in both the students' first language in English, French, Dutch, and Portuguese. While precise measurements are difficult, many sources estimated that 1 out of every 2 people on the planet knows at least 2 languages. 1 out of every 2 people on the planet. We'll have to see how they classify languages, if they're including dialects, which I think should be included. But then again, if you do include those, I'm not sure what is the number going to be? There may have been a time in the US when becoming multilingual was a luxury, but to thrive in an interconnected world with its expanding population, evolving technology, and growing emphasis on competing globally, it's a requirement. Right, but we do have to be, not that I'm trying to be contrarian necessarily, but we do have to contextualize the reason why the US and England tend to be really low at the number of people that speak a second language, and that's because English is the lingua franca for the majority of the world. It's a common language. So that gives an advantage when it comes to the fact that it's usually others that need to learn English. But it also, there is the problem that you don't really need it for communicating as much. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, we had to learn a little bit of English to play the games. And in some countries, you don't even get movies dubbed. So, like, of course, out of necessity, you can create a virtue. There's an expression in Italian, out of necessity, virtue. Di necessità virtù. It's a beautiful expression, actually. Di necessità virtù. Or out of a necessity or of a need, virtue. Which kind of means you can, maybe there is something you really have to do, but you turn it into something good, virtuous, that improves you as a person. And remember, 3 out of 4 humans don't speak English. Right. Yeah, it's still the lingua franca, though. It sounds like you're selling it short. You're selling it short. Top 10 benefits of learning more than one language. Improve your career and business, all right? When employees list the skills they most seek in a candidate, knowing more than one language is listed among the top 8, regardless of the job title, the economic sector, or the candidate's experience. Yeah, I mean, sure. Maybe we could add, like, coding languages into that as well. They are languages. In other words, whether you're an engineer, a restaurant server, a salesperson, a small business owner, any role in any sector, multilingualism will serve you professionally, goal as well. Well, it's always a bonus. I'll give him that. I'll agree with that. Of course, in the tourist sector, it's going to be more useful than in mathematics to know a second language, but still. While knowing more than one language is a powerful way to distinguish yourself from your peers and colleagues, it's becoming less of a nice to have and more of a job requirement. A full 90% of US employers report relying on employees who speak more than one language. 90%, that's a lot. 2, build deeper connection with more people. True, that's one of the reasons why I've started learning languages. I love the connection. When you can communicate with someone in her language, in this case, actually, there would have been good when we are talking about someone, so it's not specific. It's actually correct to say there, in their language. Anyways, you open up infinite ways to connect. The entire experience of interacting with your fellow humans, getting to know them, working alongside them is enriched by sharing their language. Yeah, in fact, you see they're using there. You will be shaped by communities. You will be humbled by the kindness of strangers. Hopefully. Kind of depends on the strangers, but yeah. When you can communicate with someone in her language, again, you open it. It's funny because I don't think this is written well, but you used it as the, wow, this is the punchline. Anyway, sharpen your decision making. Decisions made in a second language are more reason driven than decisions made in your first language. That's interesting, but let me see if they give us the footnote. Catherine Caldwell Harris, How Knowing a Foreign Language Can Improve Your Decision. Scientific American, 2012. I'll look into this. If there is actual data to back this up and it's supported, that could be interesting. When tackling a challenge in a second, third, or fourth language, you gain the objectivity and emotional distance you need to properly assess the situation. The result, clear-eyed choices made through sound, systematic thinking. Feed your brain. Research indicates that people who speak more than one language develop a better memory, of course, talent for problem solving, I agree. It is part of it, right? It is a problem that needs to be solved oftentimes. It's not nice to consider it as a problem, but it does come with problems. It's a journey and an adventure that comes with problems that require solving. There we go. Ability to concentrate, tendency to be creative than people who speak only one language. Cool. It reduces your cognitive decline as you age. Yes, because you're basically exercising your brain like a muscle. Treasure other cultures. Culture is the collection of a group's tradition, arts, custom, social institution, and achievement passed from generation to generation, but the surest way to understand a culture, to know it, emphasize it. Okay. And come to adore it is to know its language. So I agree with this, but of course this means you should always pick a language that is connected to a culture you like, because I've seen people try to learn a language for economic or business opportunities, but they absolutely hated the culture, and usually they drop offs. All right. See the world more fully. When you travel somewhere and know the language, the entire experience transforms. That is so true. I'm a testament to that. I agree. 100%. It's true. Traveling becomes more dynamic, more full of nuance and opportunities. Knowing the language lets you escape the tourist bubble. I hope this is not AI, by the way, because the way it's written feels a little AI. And to interact with people and places nobody else could. You can read the street signs to find amazing locales. And unless you travel with my cousin/uncle, meaning he's a cousin, but the age of difference kind of treat him like an uncle, because every time we were in Japan and he does not speak Japanese, and I would tell him, hey, the train station is over there, and he told me, no, I think it's this other way, and I said, it's literally written on the freaking wall that you can't read. Pissed me off a few times. Anyways, engage in more meaningful conversation. Absolutely. I mean, if you don't know the language, you can't engage in any conversation. Boost your confidence. As you're learning a language, you'll make plenty of mistakes, often in front of the audience or your teacher and classmates, but these mistakes are actually steps towards becoming a more proficient speaker. I agree 100%. Mr. Mistake is the best teacher. 8, expand your perspective. Learning another language means learning another culture, and learning another culture means drawing comparisons between it and your own culture. That's true. You naturally discover places, places, both positive and negative, where the cultures diverge. Your understanding of the awesomeness of humanity's diversity and ingenuity grows in 1,000 new directions. Right. It's written so weird. Awesomeness of humanity's diversity and ingenuity. Experience art in its original form. Most of the world's history and art, its books, news, films, music, essays, stories, and online experiences are in a language you don't yet know. I enjoy the yet in here. Yeah, there are more than 7,000 spoken languages. Good luck with that. But sure, become a polyglot. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. When you learn a second language, two amazing things happen. First, you come to know and speak your first language better. That does happen, it's true. Second, learning a third language is much easier than the second, especially for children. I agree, that was my experience too. Take a bold step towards communicating in as many languages as you choose. That's fine, but do not become a polyglot, at least not a fake one. I like that they have in the footnotes, this is more the bibliography really, well yeah, sure, footnotes, it's the footnotes. I'll stop being pedantic, it is the footnotes, and I appreciate it because usually articles don't give them. Pretty much solid, I'd say quite solid. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments. And what languages are you trying to learn? And I will look forward to read that. Thank you very much for joining Metatron's Academy. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much.